Discussion on YouTube. This is Acid Root. So I want to review the soundtrack to the High School Musical. Basically, this product is called High School Musical Soundtrack, and it came out in the winter of 2006. So basically, the concept about this product here is this was a Disney television channel movie as far as what's first going to happen, just from the pitch behind it. I remember this particular soundtrack, not to say I remember the composition of this project, but just I remember the thing about this particular product when I looked up the sales of 2006, some of the best-selling albums, because I remember back in 2006, 2007, 2005, rap albums particularly had a hard time with charting appeals as far as this pitch can happen. There were albums that just were not charting as heavily. Like probably the biggest selling album of 2006 for rap music would have been like T.I.'s King or something like that. You know, Young Jock did pretty good with New Jock City, and like Lil Wayne did pretty good with like Father Like Son with Birdman, some of those type fairs. But within the pitch behind it, for the most part, there were not a ton of highest selling rap albums in 2006. I kind of question what some of the highest selling albums in 2006 kind of was. One of which was Carrie Underwood's Some Hearts, which was a pretty big deal around this particular time. But the particular album that sold the highest in 2006 that I wanted to see just the notation behind it, to see the impact of it, to see if the quality was warranted, was High School Musical. So this is the highest selling album. This was the highest selling album in the United States of the year 2006. First, what's first going to happen? These movies, they were released. I want to say there were 2 or 3 of these High School Musicals and soundtracks as far as what's first going to happen. Just a big deal around that particular time within that particular fold. So there's definitely some pop rap here to kind of get within those particular aspects. I know there's some singers here. I remember Vanessa Hudgens. She was kind of an actress as far as what's first going to happen. Zac Efron's a pretty big actor. Ashley Tisdale had some stuff. I think she was a singer. Corbin Blue is a particular cat. I remember him being like possibly like an R&B singer, something like that. Don't remember Monique Coleman as much, or Lucas Grabeel, but it's just from the pitch for saying I think every one of these 6 members of this particular group that did it here probably had some particular stardom about it, just within the aspects. So some good type of appeal. Now this is kind of a haphazard project just from the pitch. I mean, with the Disney stamp on this, it's kind of the concept that it is a little bit more family friendly and kid oriented within the pitch, but it's not as if that it does not have that particular aspect of having some quality about it. It's just kind of within the pitch. If you come to this album for like the usual vicious aspect of some of the mixtape type fare and the usual rugged and some of the usual rugged bite that this particular channel kind of has, I mean, it's just kind of the concept. I want to get more oriented towards that. It's just kind of the standard fare. I want to get more oriented towards some type of stuff that had a little bit more commercial type aspects within it, not as full. I wanted to get towards some more aspects that had a little bit more widespread type appeal within the pitch, and just the aspect of just having more versatility within aspects I wanted to see about this project. I think I do actually own this particular album. It's lying around somewhere within the pitch. I remember getting this from like a DAV. I remember picking this up from like a DAV back in the day and just never got around to reviewing it as far as what's first going to happen. But I look within the pitch here. So I would say within the impact of it, probably the impact of this album, the claim behind this project is a little bit larger than the actual quality of it. It's not to say this is a bad project, it's just a little bit more haphazard just within the concept of it just being a little bit more kind of definitely like that moody kind of ness to kind of get. This feels like some sort of choir-like musical type movie within the pitch. I mean, obviously with it being called High School Musical, you get the pitch. It's basically, in a nutshell, the title basically tells you what you're going to get here, but it's just kind of the impact as far as saying there is some good stuff here within the pitch behind it. It's just kind of the concept that it just has to be more oriented towards like the concept of just more family-driven type aspects. But it does work for that particular type fare, just having bells in mind just within the pitch. It just a little bit more with like just a little bit more of like the Sprout shows running around as far as this pitch can happen. If there is like some kid-centricness, and you have to talk with some laddies and some pitches like that, some lassies as far as that particular fare kind of goes, just the impact as far as saying it. But I just look after here, some good type conducts, just the pitch as far as saying, it's just kind of the pitch. I mean, it's just within the aspect of just being able to say, it's not to say within the impact, but it's just the edge type factor, it's just kind of the tone of just having. It's just a good impact to be able to amalgamate with some of these type of sounds. If you do typically listen to folks like Yo Gotti and like Waka Flocka and some of those type folks, Meek Mill, some of these particular type folks, or just folks like that, or even within the fashion and more metal bands like Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer and some of those type folks, just within the pitch as far as saying within the impact that this is just a good type aspect to kind of have just a little bit more kind of watered down type aspect of this. I mean, this is just kind of one of those ones where you're just probably going to be, you know, underneath the leash within the aspect. It's definitely leash type music, I'd have to say within the tone. Just know that going in within the pitch is, for the most part, there's not too many terrible fashions where most standard folks probably past the age of like, I would say 15, 16 in terms of like a male type sense, so just full bound kind of knock this going forth. It's not to say like you can't, but this is the pitch. It just feels out of the ordinary within the relative aspect behind it. It's mainly just within the pitch. I think you can tell kind of more bellows within the aspect. Not to say that you shouldn't or don't have the taste for it. It's just kind of concept. That's the orientation. If I look after here, it's just very much leash type music, but there were 3 singles off this product that did pretty good jobs. Just the pitch. This does have some good pop rap. This does have some good pop grabs on here as far as this first going to happen. Breaking Free was a top 5 single on the Billboard forward as far as those fairs kind of particularly happen. This does do some kind of multi-singing type fashion, so it's not just one particular singer. There's some break-ins that kind of happen with it, like you'll get a singer on the hook and the singer on a different verse. It's just kind of like basically like it's just the concept of like a musical as far as those appeals kind of happen, just like a skit or some sort of drama play as far as those pitch kind of happens. Just kind of the concept doesn't seem to fit the theme, possibly like how the movie turned out within the pitch, but just what I'd say it's a good concept to get that companion piece type soundtrack just with the impact of it. But yeah, Breaking Free is a nice one here. It's like a dewy kind of day commerce kind of get, just a fatigue kind of pop melody. This particular song is like a fatigue kind of pop melodrama. I'd say just some usual workaday kind of frustrations within those impacts. So just kind of a more Disney centric and a little bit more vanilla and just pop friendly kind of commotion about something that typically someone like Rihanna or Kelly Clarkson would kind of do Avril Lavigne without like the definite edge factor about it. Just kind of the concept of just with like the aspect of just something that just feels like a more teen angsty type version, like that 4 o'clock p.m. and 3:30 p.m. type direction in the pitch behind. Just a good type concept for that. Has like a little bit of like a somber typeness about it. But the thing about this particular fair is a lot of these start off within that somberness, but it does not really sulk in like that emo type fair as far as those pitches kind of happen. It kind of has like some upkeep about it that just switches to like, all right, you're gonna, it just kind of gets like the drive factor about it halfway through the song. Like a number of these songs, there's not really any real down in the dumps type song apart from possibly When There Was Me and You, but even that particular one gets a little bit more upkeep about it. So this has a little bit more kind of just like jump start about the aspect as far as that particular fair kind of goes just within the pitch. But I look after it, it does have like some good kind of day commerce type dredge about it. So it's just typical concept, just a little bit more vanilla type flavor. So it's good type pitch. Get You Ahead in the Game is probably the best song on this particular album. This is a surprising one here. This is definitely a little bit more rash type one, but within the concept of saying like a vanilla type soundtrack, kind of PG almost, or PG, within a PG type format. I'd have to say about this one, it's like a mid-pace kind of social jumper to kind of get here, just a jive lick. I would definitely feel like about this one, just a dance night to definitely get in some smoke. Good song to smoke to and fraternize to as far as this pitch can happen. Now, I realize with the aspect of this being like a Disney soundtrack, you would think, oh, you're going to talk about smoking. Was within the pitch as far as saying it's the aspect. It's a good type song, has the aspect of just being able to have some of that. I mean, this is probably one that you could take. I mean, I question like the concept for folks just within a more ruffled type I question the concept within a more mixtape type format if you were to try to throw this song in with like a mixtape kind of. I question the concept if you were to try to throw this song in with like a mixtape type format with something like Yo Gotti or some of those type folks, or I question what would happen if you were to try to throw this song in with some mixtape type folks like Gucci Mane or Waka Flocka, some of those type folks in particular, when you think of some of these particular type ones, and like Meek Mill, Rick Ross, and those type fairs just within the pitch. But it's just a good aspect here. I mean, this has some good commotion, but it's just kind of the concept of this, obviously within the concept of having some step outs, just kind of the portion of just saying, last week was mixtape type fashion within that sense of just like particular fashions. This is kind of the concept of just like some kind of vanilla pop, just with like a mild kind of rugged edge about within the pitch behind it. So it's just kind of a baller's night kind of dance step out as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just good type commotion for some of that. Just feels like an Outcast song that you go to on like a sports night, or just going to like some sort of basketball game or some sort of winter commerce, or just overall just autumn type commerce within the pitch. It just more commotion just within a social type sense, and just an overall kind of sparky type flair about it. So it's good type concept. I do feel like this is a song you could have some relative smoke sessions to within the pitch behind, just within the fashion. I mean, it's not going to full bound denote that. It's not going to say like light one up. But it's just in the pitch you get the tone as far as that particular fraternized type commotion just being like a relative club hop on here. So it's a surprising one, but works. Probably the most immediate song to go for in terms of like a more relative type fashion that's not quite as like glissy kind of bubblegum, I'd have to say. But then the third single is We're All in This Together, and this is one of those type ones that just feels like really something that just really the PG type glamour about it really goes through within the pitch. This is one that is not like, I'm not going to recommend this song, was just kind of within the pitch that this is like one of the more kid centric type ones, that this is one of those kind of hammy type songs within the pitch. I mean, it's just that cheese factor is just on that particular song. Not to say that it's like a terrible song within the pitch, just kind of the concept that this is really type one of those type ones where the leash factor is a little bit higher on this particular fair. Just kind of one of those fashions when you look at like a metalhead, something like that, having to wear, like if you take a typical kind of tattooed up kind of goth type dude, some of those type fashions, and put him in like, you put that dude in like a beige or like light mustard yellow kind of Banana Republic shirt or something within that relative type pitch, just kind of the pitch behind it, just something a little bit with more white khakis type music and some of that type, wear a scarf around your neck, some of that type pitch, just really, like I said, just leash type music just within the fair. But I just look after it, just kind of the ham factor is on that particular song, just not within the pitch, is how often I'd listen to that one. But Yeah, like I was saying, Get Your Head in the Game's an excellent type one. It's the most social jump on here. A good one to spark up a few too. And Breaking Free just has some of that Dave fatigue in his pitches like that. Just kind of melodrama, just like the frustrations that standard fare. But to say there's basically 9 songs in this particular album. There's actually 13 songs in here, but 2 of them are instrumentals, which narrows it down to 11. And then one of which is a reprise of like a song, so which was kind of strange about that one. But that slashes it down to 10. And then, like, Get Your Head in the Game is strangely on this song twice. So I don't know why that particularly happened, but I'm just going to recommend the one version of the songs. So basically, out of 9 songs, I wound up recommending 5. So just within the pitch. So the other 3 songs, basically the 5 songs I recommend on this album. Basically, the 5 songs I recommend on this album would be Breaking Free, Get Your Head in the Game, I Can't Take My Eyes Off You, When There Was Me and You, and Start of Something New. So it's within those pitches, just being able to say here, just what I'd say. So 5 out of 9 within the pitch as far as that fair kind of happens. I will slash like the reprise and the repeat songs as far as this first going to happen. So 5 out of 9, I'm going to give this album like a 6.25 out of 10. Look within the pitch, just kind of the fair behind it. But basically, some of these type ones, if you do like the social type fashion and get your head in the game, another one in a more romantic type sense that has some of that social spark about it would be I Can't Take My Eyes Off You. It's like a spicy kind of dance night commotion kind of get here. Good buzz song and good song to bust and move to as far as what's first going to happen. So just a little bit more saucy in mind, a little bit more romantic flair about it within the pitch behind this typical type conduct. Now, so within the pitch, it is more vanilla type pop within the pitch behind it. Just a little bit more sing-songy within the aspect, just a little bit more vivid and expressive as far as those pitches kind of happen, but it is a nice one to kind of get within those contexts as far as like a spicy type one to kind of get within the aspect of something for some step out as far as those first kind of happen. So it's just good type tone, just one of those type ones that you typically kind of get in like a dance type movie, just where it's just a little bit more, just one that's a little bit more of like a deeper and spicy type mix within the pitch behind, but it is a good nice one, a good 1-2 punch kind of get for some of those type fares. Get Your Head in the Game is a little bit more of like a cut loose kind of frolic type music and like a romp with your pals, but I Can't Take My Eyes Off You is where it gets a little bit more spice within the pitch as far as like a little bit more spicy as far as being focused on a ballad. I'd say When There Was Me and You, this is like a clone of Breaking Free. I'd have to say here, good type pitch. This is like a solo song by Vanessa Hudgens as far as this fair is going to happen. Just a rainy day kind of makeshift gloom kind of get here. Definitely some window pane kind of gazing. Definitely some window pane kind of gazing I'd have to say about this one. Just typical kind of drift type music within the pitch behind it. So this kind of, this is one that's like a wet out type commerce, just some of that malaise. This kind of nails the moody factor about it, but it is almost has like a certain degree of ham factor about it as well as just within the pitch. I mean, like the factor about, because this is more like PG centric, it's a little bit tougher to take it more seriously in terms of like the emotiveness, like the moodiness factor. I feel like if this would have been by Vanessa Hudgens in like a typical type format that would have been oriented towards like the concept of like the pitch behind being her age, which she was, or being more to like R-rated type formats and just within an adult contemporary type fashion or something like that. I think the impact of this probably would have been was this kind of concept of doing it for like a PG type move within the pitch is just something has like a younger setting. It's just kind of the concept that just had a little bit it had to be a little bit more bubblegum within like the this more frolic of it within the pitch. So these rainy day songs, I think this is a good upkeep of some that probably could have had the makeshift of it just within the pitch. Definitely has that makeshift down within that relative gloom about it, but just the upkeep about it kind of switches like the tone is something that just kind of has in a little bit more of like a fashion of just kind of drive. Like this album has enough drive about it. It's just kind of within the pitch. This album is not just like a sulk type album. It's just kind of within the pitch. Like, all right, got to snap to it within the pitch. Not so much like a hustle type product, but it's kind of the concept of all right, it can't be pissed off all day. Some of those type pitches just within the tone as far as those first going to happen. But this one is basically like a clone of Breaking Free, just a little bit more rainy day in mind. I feel like Breaking Free is just more a 4 o'clock p.m. type dredge just in the pitch, just that frustration. But this one's a little bit more than a moody type fashion that just kind of has like an upswing later. And then Start of Something New is a real nice one. This one's pretty much like a clone once again of When There Was Me and You and Breaking Free. This is one that has a little bit basically the same composition of When There Was Me and You, just has more singers on there as far as what's first going to happen. It's like a murky kind of day malaise I'd have to say about this, then sifts into like some pop. Start of Something New is like some murky kind of day malaise here, and then it sifts into like pop do kind of upkeep I'd have to say about this one. Just kind of some wet out commute as far as what's first going to happen. So just that typical time. It's that typical kind of melodrama type fashion, like a standard kind of heartache within those fares, just with the pitch behind it, but just kind of the commerce of disc, kind of doing it within, once again, like a PG type format. So just once again, some leash type music, just in the aspect here, just kind of, so this is like some good PG kind of day malaise within the pitch behind as far as those fares kind of go. It's just within the fares, just the fashion of saying, just kind of within the tone of like, typical kind of moodiness, but just within the concept of just kind of having like that upkeep of things. So like I said, within some of these songs, all of these songs, like I was saying, kind of have this particular drive factor about them. Just kind of the concept of just being like, damn, it's kind of been a glum day, but just kind of the concept, just gonna get back to it. And these particular songs have like a glum type factor about it, but then they also have the upkeep of having to muscle on as far as this first gonna happen just with the pitch. So it's just the type tone for that particular fair. But this one in particular has some rainy day type fashion. I do like the tone behind this one. This really feels like a concept of something when you look at it. This is a good type context. This would be a good type fair to actually get on like some pop type albums within the pitch. It just having like that balladry about it, but just within the pitch, it just having like the fair, just like the song like started something new, just has like the frustration concept about it nailed real well, just within the murky kind of malaise about it, but then it switches to like the concept of this being something that kind of started something new, just kind of has that murky kind of malaise about it, but then it switches into like, I do like the concept of start of something new, kind of being like the upkeep of switching to like a healthy flip mode within the pitch. Just kind of the concept of just overcoming like struggle within the pitch behind it. I mean, it does it within, I mean, it's kind of within a relative cheese factor of it, but it's just kind of within the pitch that it does it within the factor. I mean, I do feel like the songs do need to have this particular fashion just within the concept as far as having something that just kind of has the drift as far as saying, you know, it's just kind of a halfway pep kind of muscle through type song within the pitch. Just kind of concept. It's a little bit tricky to kind of sift into words within the aspects as far as this first gonna happen. It's just kind of a concept of like a melded kind of halfway type song that has like halfway rain about it, but also halfway kind of just like shininess, more sunshiny type factor within passion. Started something new kind of has like a halfway rainy day type fashion, but also like a halfway kind of sunshine type fashion within the pitch behind it. It's just like I said, just the tricky type fashion as far as sifting that within the concept of it, but it just does within the meld of getting towards like a pop rap type grab with, or just does it within a pop type grab within the pitch as far as just having something that just has like a good makeshift kind of malaise about it. So it's just the good type tone, just having some of that upswing kind of muscle through. It's just good type pitch, just the fashion, having some of that moodiness, but then just having it within like a more typical kind of PG type format. So it's a good type concept. I mean, the attempt behind this project, the execution of it may not have been as full bound. I mean, it does it within a PG type fashion. I think this is definitely pretty excessive for like the concept of just nailing something for like a PG movie, more family friendly within the impact of nailing something musical within the sense of just giving like a good soundtrack album within the pitch of getting like some good pop within the fashion of just having it be like a balanced palette for like a PG type thing. But in terms of like the pitch of getting like a standard pop album within the pitch of just getting something that's just not attached to the movie and something that could be not just for like an adolescent type fashion, it doesn't have as much full bound kind of demand. I think there's products of that have the attempt to be able to nail it within certain fashions. This is serviceable, but I think it really fits like the core of like the movie more so than like a standard kind of going much further than like the usual audience. Which is just within the pitch behind, which is a mild sense kind of disappointing because I feel like the talent of this particular music and the aspect behind the productiveness of this fair, there's some good songs here within the concept of it, but it's just kind of the fashion that just has a younger setting in mind for it. So that's the only thing. But you just look after it, it's attached to movies. That's the fair behind it. So then the service of it, it gets a 6.25 out of 10. The social score I'll probably give like a 6.25 as well. I just look at the pitch. I'd say that there is at least one more social song. Some of these type ones, like if you like the vibes that get you ahead in the game, and I can't take my eyes off you, there is at least one more within that fashion called Bop to the Top. But I don't recommend that song within the pitch. It's just trying to pull off like this conga type vibe, something like a Las Vegas. Bop to the Top is trying to pull off something like a Las Vegas kind of conga type vibe, like some gamble nights and pitches like that, but just kind of in a more kid-centric type format. But it's kind of in a more kid-centric type format that just doesn't pull it off. And there's some other type songs on here like What I've Been Looking For, Stick to the Status Quo. They're just like some dance-centric type ones that just don't nail the vibes behind it. I just feel like the concept behind some of these, What I've Been Looking For and Stick to the Status Quo, are just some fizzy type ones that just don't really have the appeal behind it. These are just super vanilla, kind of more youthful, PG-centric type ones that just didn't have the appeal in my opinion. This was not within the aim of what that. It's not just within the aim of like the aspect of something that I'd probably commonly listen to just in the pitch. And I'd say the same thing I already talked about, I already talked about not recommending. We're all in this together, so it's within the pitch. So this album gets a 6.25. Like I said, leash type music within the aspect here, just being able to say some good type conduct for just like the more type fair, just in a more PG centric type format. Just being able, I mean, there are songs to pull off within this fashion, just within the aspect of saying if you do go from like routine kind of metal, black metal, death metal, some of those type fairs, thrash metal, hardcore kind of mixtape, trap type music, and fairs like that, some of those type fashions, it's more things within that particular aspect. Trying to think of some other ones, drill, some of those type ones in particular, just the usual kind of roughneck, kind of more rugged type fashion within some of that. This kind of is like a whiplash within that particular tone as far as saying within the aspect, just something that's really kind of buttery, kind of like vanilla bubble gum within the pitch, but it is good handiness, kind of have that aspect as far as listening to some of this. There are some good gems on here. I wouldn't say that, oh, just thinking that this is like a dog turd or something like that, because it's not. The fashion does have some good type of appeals. It's good concept. It's not like it's a problem being whipped just within the pitch. Just had to say within the aspect. So I just look at it. It's not a horrid thing within that concept, just within the aspect of having that particular type of fare. And there are some moments, not just that to say that this is only with ladies in mind. It's just kind of the concept that it has more frequency within that, but it's just kind of telling that there is some good stuff on here just within the pitch. But, you just look after here within the context as far as saying, so just some social jive on here within a relative type pitch. I'd look after 6.25 social, 6.25 score. So in terms of the future, there are at least 2 other High School Musical type soundtracks. Don't know if I would get to reviewing those within the pitch, but just the aspect. I think this original type one has some relative impact about it. Some good breakthrough type moments within the pitch, like a relative for a PG type movie pitch like that, for something where the normal crowd would probably be past like the, but for a PG type fashion where certain folks would probably be past like that concept just within the pitch behind it. It has a pretty handy type job being able to nail some deliveries within this that has some good vibes about it, and just overall pretty good dance type appeal and social spark about it.